Welcome to the Lawns and Life podcast, where DIYers go to get the tips and advice they need to have a great looking lawn. Hey there, lawn lovers. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Lawns and Life podcast, where we dive deep into the world of DIY lawn care. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned veteran looking to polish your skills, we have got something for everyone. In each episode, I break down simple, easy to understand topics that will empower you to achieve your dream lawn. My name is Devin. I am the DIY lawn coach, and thank you so much for coming back for another week. Got a really good podcast planned for us for today, so thank you so much for coming back for another week. Hope you guys had a great week. I'll be honest with you, I had a guest planned for the show, and we had some technical difficulties. I was kind of bummed, if I'm being honest, because this is a big-time YouTuber, and it was my fault. I'm just a dummy, and had some technical issues, but we got it worked out, and he was so gracious. He'll come back on the podcast, but just a little bit bummed about that. But it's all going to be good, so I had to kind of pull out a fast one. I had that planned. That was going to be the episode for this week, but that didn't happen. But that's okay. We've got another good episode planned for us. I'm going to do kind of a mailbag. I've been getting a lot of questions in my comment section, and a couple of them I want to dive a little bit deeper into. So we'll address those questions. Maybe you're dealing with some of those issues, or maybe you have those same concerns as some of these other viewers do. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper in that. And then also, we are getting ready to get our very first heat wave of the year. I was looking at the forecast, and temperatures are going to be mid upper 90s. And yeah, that's not fun. But I want to give you guys some strategies and things that you can be doing depending on where you live as we move towards that first heat wave. You know, is it okay to mow before a heat wave, or do we wait? How do we change our watering schedule? So we're gonna talk about that. But I do want to kind of address something too. You know, last week's video was a little bit somber. It was a little bit heavy. And I just want to say thank you. You guys are incredible. You guys reached out. You sent some incredible messages to me, encouraging me. But I want to let you guys know that I'm okay. Everything is good with me. My sleep is improving. Again, the purpose of that video, of that podcast, was not to shine the light on me. It was just to kind of talk about some of the things that I have been struggling with, but also to let you know if it's something that you're struggling with, that there's a way out. But you guys are incredible. You guys really showed up in the comment section. And again, that really means the world to me. I even had some people say, hey, I never comment on videos, but you know, I was really touched by what you said. And if that's you and you're listening and maybe you've never commented before, please feel free to comment. There's no reason not to comment. You know, as someone who watches other YouTubers, it only encourages us. It only gives us support. I mean, we get 1,000 views and only a few comments, and your comments really do mean a lot. So again, just wanted to take a second and say thank you for all of that. But as we always do, we have to do this week's mindful moment.
It can be hard to slow down and notice things in a busy world. Mindful moments is where we pause for a moment to reflect on the here and now. After all, life is happening now. We simply need to take time to notice. These small yet profound experiences remind us that life is not about the destination, but the journey we take to get there.
Yeah, so this week's mindful moment, I just want to take a second and tell you guys to just be kind to yourself. You know, I for one, really have tried to really practice this over the last couple of weeks, especially everything that I've been through. And I think it's really easy to be kind to somebody else and be kind to something that someone else is going through. I'm speaking from personal experience here. I'm someone who is extremely hard on myself. If I don't get up and go to the gym in the morning, I'm hard on myself about that. Or if you know, going to bed, all the dishes aren't done, or whatever it is, the lawn doesn't look the way I want to. I can be very hard on myself. And I think it's important for us to remind ourselves to be kind to ourselves. And it's hard to say as a guy to want to be kind to yourself, but I think it's important because look, the world is hard enough, and so much of what we deal with, the struggles and things that are in our mind, a lot of them are self-created. Whether it's we think we're too old, or we're too fat, or we're too whatever, and we could be really hard on ourselves. And I think it's important, especially as we transition even towards summer, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, um, lawn related. But I think it's just important that we be kind to ourselves. So I just want to encourage you guys, to just kind of let go a little bit, and that's something that I'm working on. Again, it's a lot easier said than done, but just take a minute or a moment this week and just try to be kind to yourself. If you have had a rough day at work, or you're just not feeling it, it's okay. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. Everything's going to be fine. But I promise, being hard on yourself, or saying mean things to yourself, even if you're going through something in your life, it doesn't have to necessarily be something tremendous. But let's say you're going through something, and you want to go get yourself a cup of coffee, or you want to whatever it is, just be kind to yourself, because it's the world is hard, and I think that's just really important. So that's this week's mindful moment. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just be kind to yourself. It's all going to be okay. So this week I told you guys we are going to do a mailbag, and I'm going to throw up, first of all, if you have commented on my videos, I was mentioning that earlier, you guys are incredible. I really appreciate the comments. Not only do your comments help you, your comments could potentially be helping someone else, and I think that's really important. So for those of you that maybe have never commented on a video before, or asked a question, don't be afraid to ask that question, because you just never know how your question could potentially impact somebody else. Maybe they think it's a dumb question, and I'll, they always say there's no such thing as a dumb question. And I 100% agree with that. Look, I don't claim to know everything. As a matter of fact, one of the questions we're going to talk about, one of them we're going to talk about, I don't necessarily know the answer. So I'm going to count on you guys to kind of help me get the answer. But don't think like, well, I don't want to ask because I don't know, or you think it's a dumb question, because you just never know. We're a community. Speaking of communities, really quick, go check out my private Facebook page. We're still signing up a bunch of people, 15, 20 members every single week. It's incredible. That's another great place, another great resource for you to ask questions, post pictures, show off your lawn, having troubles, what you're going through. So it's on Facebook. It's the DIY Lawn Coach group. And it's just a great resource. So let's get into the very first question for the week. So this one comes from Luke Romans. He says, "Hi, Devin. I see that you're still striping your lawn." All right, so let me first say, I don't intentionally stripe my lawn. I don't have a roller or anything like that on my lawnmower. A lot of people seem to think that, and there's a couple things that really attribute to how hard my lawn stripes. Number one, the length of the grass plays a huge role. Okay, so if you don't know, what causes lawn stripes is the bending of the blades, whether they're going towards you, like laying towards you, or they're laying away from you. Stripes that are laid away from you are going to be light. They're going to show up as white stripes. And the dark stripes, the white stripes coming back at you, are going to be dark, right? But I don't have a roller on my mower. The length of the grass plays a big role in that. And so the longer the grass blades, the more they can lay over. So tall fescue can stripe very hard. Another thing that that attributes to that is that I go in the same direction maybe twice before I'll switch directions. And what that does is it really burns in those stripes, but there's nothing on the mower that's really causing that. I'm not doing anything intentional to make those stripes. It's just kind of naturally happening. And I think it also has something to do with the Toro mower. I just think the way the deck's built, it just stripes really hard. So the grass type, and another little secret, I pay attention to the direction of the sun. It's kind of a little cheat code. When you know the direction of the sun, if you can point those stripes right at the sun and the direction that people are going down the road, they see it, and it just looks a lot harder. So back to his question. He says, I see that you're still striping the lawn, but I just want to let you guys know I'm not doing anything in particular to stripe it, on purpose. Will lawn striping during the summer months with high humidity, he's talking about disease pressure, promote disease, fungus, lawn rot on lawns for cool season guys like me? Okay, so let's, and then he says, apart from your liquid application, how often do you apply granular fertilizer in this in a season? All right, so let's address the first question. First of all, it's a great question. Okay, so lawn striping in the summer, should you do it? Should you, like, if you have a roller on your lawn, should you stripe in the summer? My recommendation would be no, don't. Now, for me, in my situation, I'm not doing anything to try to stripe the lawn, right? Like, I don't have a roller on there. It's my belief that a lawn roller, I mean, what it's doing is it's pushing down that grass. It's laying it over. It's pushing it down further than it, say, would on its own. And there's a couple different things that I think about. Number one is mashing down that grass and rolling it in a particular direction. Is it going to spread the fungus? I mean, I guess it could, but it's not. That's not my main reason. My main reason is the added stress on the turf. And not to mention, we really want the grass to stand up nice and tall because we want that air circulation. I think if you're matting it down, you're inhibiting airflow. And a big part of fungus in a lawn is airflow. Think about when you go play golf. They have those fans near the greens. Well, why are those fans there? For air circulation. And so it's just my opinion that if you have a roller, I would probably take it off. I would probably not use a lawn roller if you can help it. Now, does it make it worse? I don't think so. I just, again, I don't want to, the lawn is already under a tremendous amount of stress. Like, the last thing I want to do is do something on purpose that I could potentially make the situation worse. So that's my thought. And he said, apart, and so great question, Luke. And again, thank you so much for asking a question. I think that's a great question because that's something you see a lot, right? Apart from your liquid applications, how often do you apply granular fertilizer in a season? So I guess I'm not 100% sure I really understand the question. Apart from, I guess he's asking how often do I apply granular in the season? To me, it's not granular versus liquid. It's just how often do I apply? Typically every 30 to 45 days. Now, that changes in the summertime because I go more to a spoon feeding application in the summer. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. But generally speaking, I would say every 30 to 45 days, I'm feeding the lawn. So springtime, fall time, I'm probably leaning more towards the 30-day mark, a little bit more often, a little bit heavier, just because the grass, that's our time to shine, right? Like, that's when the grass is growing. Now, I do switch over to a liquid program about now. So it's the middle of June. Um, and the big reason for that is I like less amounts of nitrogen more frequently. All right. I believe in feeding all the way through the summer. Hot. Now my lawn is irrigated. So if your lawn is not irrigated, you probably really want to cut back on the feeding here. Or if your lawn is under a lot of stress, you really want to cut back on the food. But my thought is when it gets hot and humid and it's under a lot of stress, we don't want to make it worse by adding more food, like a tremendous amount of food. But we still want the lawn growing. We still want to, I'm still going to be watering. I'm going to be mowing correctly. I'm going to be applying my preventative fungicides. But I just want that grass to continue to grow, to be healthy. Because if it does get a fungus, my thought is I feed a cold, don't starve a cold. And so if it gets sick, I want to feed it all the way through that. So I guess just to answer his question, how often do you apply granular fertilizer in a season? Every 30 to 45 days. So hopefully that answers your question, Luke. And if you're happen to listen again and you want to go a little bit deeper into that question, by all means, leave me another comment. I'd love to answer it. All right, so this next question comes from a Cowboys fan. His Tuda Show Romo. Love the name. He says, "Hi Devin. In what month do you stop using a PGR?" Okay, so first of all, and I answered his question. You guys can go check it out. But the first thing when I read this question says, "In what month do you stop using PGR?" Now I made a video on this a couple weeks ago, and when he says month, he's referring to the calendar. And you guys know I'm a big proponent of watching the weather as opposed to the calendar. So what month? Well, that depends. That depends on the weather. It depends on what's going on. Normally, I would have already stopped my PGR by now. And the main reason for that is because if I do get a fungus, I need the lawn to be able to grow out and to push out. And a PGR, a plant growth regulator, is going to prevent my lawn from growing. So I don't want it to stop growing if I have a fungus because I need to be able to move that fungus through the plant, right? So I get the first way I answer this question is to say, hey, it really doesn't matter what month, because just because it's June doesn't mean that I can't have a PGR. I think it's also worth noting that we're talking about a cool season lawn here. I hope he's referring to a cool season lawn as well. Being a Dallas fan, he might actually be in near Texas, but Dallas fans, they're everywhere. They're all over the place. Okay, so first of all, the first part of his question, what month? It doesn't matter. The month, don't focus on the calendar, focus on the weather. So, okay, so now that if we're going to focus on the weather, when would I stop using a plant growth regulator? And the answer would be now. And the reason why I say now is because the weather is dictating everything. We're getting a bunch of rainfall. The humidity is ratcheted up. So what does that mean? Well, we've got that disease triangle. All of the conditions are right for fungus. And so now I need to get my lawn to be at, not be under regulation because of that PGR. So now, I would say now it happens to be June, but if for some reason, it's August and it starts cooling off a little bit, or September, and September's around here can be pretty warm, but maybe it starts turning cool or whatever. Again, don't focus on the calendar, okay? Focus on the weather. Again, I talked about a video. Go back and watch that. Awesome video. Just talking about that. So, to the show, Romo. Great question. Thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate it. All right, so the next question comes from Russell, 802208. He says, what's better, a heavy nitrogen dose twice a year or spoon feeding your lawn? Thank you, Russell, for your question. I appreciate it. So what's better for me? Probably 2 applications a year, right? Like it's less work. But that's not necessarily what's better for our lawn. I am of the opinion that smaller doses of food more frequently is much better for our lawn, right? Like we're not. How would you like to eat? Like, would you rather eat, one big meal a day, or would you rather eat 4 or 5 smaller meals throughout the day? What makes you feel better? Now, I know we're talking about a human versus a grass, but when I get on a spoon feeding regimen, my lawn absolutely responds. It's beautiful. If I could spoon feed all year long, I would do it. A big reason why I don't is just because of the size of my lawn. I can't, and I'm busy, right? Like I've got a wife, kids, family, all the things. Like I can't be feeding every week or every 2 weeks. So, you know, I typically do it in the summertime, uh, simply because in the summertime I'm not mowing quite as much. I don't have a whole lot of stuff going on like I do at other parts of the year. The mowing really cuts back, and that's really what I spend a majority of my time doing in the lawn, is trying to keep it up. Well, if you take that away, that frees up some more time. So to answer your question, what's better, 2 doses twice a year of spoon feeding your lawn? Without a doubt, 100% spoon feeding your lawn. Your grass grows a whole lot more consistently. You're not giving it big shots of food. You're not getting those big surges of growth. You're not getting a lot of clippings back on the lawn because you've got all this top growth going on and you're struggling to keep up with the mowing. You got grass clippings all over the lawn, smothering it out. Yeah, that just makes it really hard if you're pushing a bunch of growth. And I promise, if you just start feeding, ideally, if you could feed every 2 weeks, man, your lawn will absolutely respond, for sure. So, Russell, 802-208, great question. All right, so this will be the last question, and we'll talk about the heat wave that we're currently under. All right, so this one I'm going to ask for you guys for some help. So, if you let's read the question first. So this one comes from Lisa O at 9677. Ask a great question. So, should a preventative application be watered in? Should an application be made for active brown patch should be watered in? Thank you. All right, so I'm going to be honest. I really don't know. So before I got on here, I was looking at the label of like propiconazole, for example, and it says for foliar-borne diseases, you want to make a foliar application. And if it's a soil-based pathogen, we want to water it in. Okay, so if you know the definitive answer, like should you actually water it in or not water it in, please let me know, because I've reached out to NC State, the turf pathologist there, for some help, and I'll be honest, they're not really clear about it. Again, I am not a professional. I'm not a turf pathologist, but I don't typically water in my applications, and I seem to be doing just fine. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right thing to do. I'm not an expert. I don't know an example of a soil-borne pathogen, but my thought is if I can get that fungicide, those systemic, meaning they get inside the plant, they translocate through the plant, and they protect the plant from the inside, as opposed to a contact, which kills the fungus spores actually on the tissue. I don't know if you're supposed to water it in or not. So again, if you know the answer, please leave me a comment. But here's what I do. I use propiconazole and azoxystrobin. I use them in tandem, and I apply them every 28 days as long as there is, the symptoms or conditions are right or favorable for fungus. I then drop the pH of that tank to 5 or slightly below, and then I add natural adjuvant to it. And that is what kind of gets that, kind of turns on the key, like the ignition that starts it. It gets those things to go inside the plant. And as long as, normal conditions, I'll apply every 28 days. If we're getting dumped with rainfall like we are right now, I actually bump that interval up to every 14 days. And then I really start watching the lawn. But I don't water them in. I let them soak in. I let them sit and be absorbed foliar by the plant. And that has worked out well for me. That's what I do. Now, you guys saw the video that I made where I actually got brown patch in my lawn, and I used azoxystrobin and propiconazole the same way I just described it. And I got rid of it in about 14 days, 14, 15, 16 days, something like that. Regular mowing, a little half pound of nitrogen, maybe a quarter pound of nitrogen to push it out. Got it growing again, mowed it. I didn't bag my clippings. Probably should have done that, but I didn't. And that worked for me. I didn't water it in. So, Lisa, to answer your question, should you water it in? I don't know. I really don't know the definitive answer there, but I know what I've done and I know what has worked for me in the past. So that's just what I'm going to continue to do. So, but Lisa, great question. I'm interested to see what you guys say about that. So again, thank you guys so much for all your questions. I love this. I love answering questions. I love helping you guys. And again, there is no stupid question. Ask your questions because you never know how it's going to help somebody else. So let's talk about this heat wave, right? So temperatures around here are going to be 95, 96, 97 degrees for the next 7 days or so. And that's blazing hot. I don't care who you are. That's hot. Humidity is going to be cranked up. And so what's happening is there's this high pressure going to set up over the Carolinas, Virginia, West Virginia, southern parts of Ohio, and it's going to create this heat dome, and we're just going to get baked for a couple of days, and it's going to be rough, but we're going to be okay. We're going to survive it. So I've seen some people saying, hey, do I mow before? Do I mow after? Or do I just let it ride? Well, I'll tell you this. If your lawn is irrigated, you've got water, you've got access to water, I would probably mow. I really wouldn't stress too much about it. You can water your way right through this, and it'll be okay. If you're non-irrigated, I would probably say it would still be okay to mow. I wouldn't mow for a while afterwards, just because, again, when it gets really, really hot like this, if you have a cool season lawn, like your lawn's really not going to grow anyway. And so just leave it alone. Just let it be. Try to stay off of it. Don't mow it. Let it just let it be. All right. As far as your watering schedule, maybe for only a couple days of this heat, I probably wouldn't change a whole lot. I am going to probably watch the lawn a little bit closer. Just look for more of the hot spots, because that's really what'll show up first. And I'm really going to handle those. I don't think we're supposed to get much rain from this. I think it's just going to be sunny skies and sun beating down on it. So I'm really going to watch out for those hot spots. If it's a prolonged thing, like we're going to be up in the upper 90s for a long time, yeah, probably start watering a little bit more, maybe go to that more towards that 1.5 inches as opposed to 1 inch. But the biggest piece of advice I can give you for this heat wave is just stay off your lawn. Just leave it alone. Let it go. If it gets shaggy and bushy and whatever, it's okay. It's under a tremendous amount of stress anyway, and we just don't want to do anything to make that worse. Don't worry about feeding it right now. Just let it go. It's okay. If you want to mow it because it feels unkept, then go for it. Again, at the end of the day, it's your lawn. You can do whatever you want. But if it were me, I'm just going to let it go. I'm irrigated, so I'm going to water my way through it. One thing that I think about when it comes to getting hot is maybe syringing the lawn. I'm not a fan of that. I've not had good luck with that. I think that to me induces more fungus. I've had tremendous breakouts of fungus when that happens. And if you don't know what syringing is, that's just where you're, think about on a hot summer day, you just taking the water hose and dousing it over your head for just maybe a minute, and how that cools you off and brings relief. Well, that's basically what you're doing for your lawn, is you're just kind of dousing it with water for just a little bit. But the key to that is the lawn has to dry out before, because you don't want that prolonged leaf wetness. And usually what happens to me is my lawn isn't 100% full sun. And so some parts, if I water at 2:00, I may already have some shade in my lawn, especially because of trees and things. And those typically will get fungus. And so I focus on the hot spots. I went and got some Moisture Max from the Yard Master. I did purchase that. I'm probably going to keep that on the ready. I'm interested to see how that works. I saw Alan's video. I thought it was really cool. Some of the testing that he's doing. So I'm interested. I'm like you guys. I bought a bottle. I want to try it. So I'm going to keep an eye on those hot spots. If I see them, I'm going to throw some Moisture Max in a little hose end sprayer. I'm going to go out and hose them down, make sure they're good and taken care of. And, certainly don't mow when it's the hottest part of the day. Wait, if you're going to mow or do anything in the lawn, try to wait maybe in the morning, make sure it's dry, or in the evenings after things have kind of calmed down and it's just not. Again, guys, the lawn is under a lot of stress. Let's not make it worse. If you whatever you're doing, think about that. Certainly don't put down any weed controls. Don't feed. Don't push a bunch of growth during this. Just let it go. It's okay. Water and keep an eye on those hot spots, and you'll be okay. But yeah, 95 it's not going to be fun. There's a lot of people. Our lawns are really gonna take a hit. But it's understandable. Like this is what we have been doing all year long. Like this is why we've been pounding those biostimulants, getting our soil ready. We've been mowing tall. We've been mowing, to get our grass as healthy as we can. And we're just holding on. Like we're just holding on. And we'll get through it. And fall will be here before we know it. And yeah, it stinks. I hate to see our beautiful lawn go. But there's nothing we can do. We're fortunate that we have the grass type that we do, because in the fall we get to repair it. And usually when you get those first couple days of those cool weather, the lawn bounces back incredibly quick. But you guys just stay safe out there. If you do end up mowing when it's really hot like that, just give yourself a couple extra minutes for mowing. Take breaks. Park in the shade. But it's just hot. There's no two ways about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast this week, a little bit longer one. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Can't wait to see you guys next week. If you have a question about anything, please leave me a comment. Go check out my Instagram page. Check out my private Facebook page. Ask questions. We'll get through this. We'll get through this heat wave together. You guys have a great week. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. My name is Devin. I'm the DIY Lawn Coach, and I can't wait to see you in the morning. Peace.